takedown. My underhook side here, I'm going to be trying to use this grip on his shoulder blade to pull him forward out of his stance. What I want to do is start circling myself around towards Young's other leg here. Okay, so I'm going to take this, pull this in as I take a step off to the side. So I'm going to be stepping sort of forward on this 45-degree angle here, and then I'm going to pull in on this shoulder as I back step here to bring this leg forward. But as I start doing this for real, I'm actually going to, rather than just stepping, I'm actually going to drop down onto this knee. Kind of like I was doing a sweep single. Okay, so I'm going to actually come, instead of just doing this here, I'm actually going to lower myself down onto this knee here. Okay, as I'm doing that, this free hand, it's my overhook side, is going to be reaching around behind the thigh here. I'm trying to hook behind Young's knee basically. Okay, so we're in this position here, we're resting. I'm going to start my step out, I'm pulling him out of my position, I'm dropping my body weight. Should be hard for your opponent to hold your whole body weight up with this underhook. Okay, unless he can front raise and bicep curl 80 odd kilos, then he should struggle to keep you up if you're dropping yourself down. So we're in our over under here. I'm going to swing around, coming into this position here. Now the more we spin and the more we pull, we might even be able to pull it all the way down and then up on top inside control. But we're going to assume that we can't get them that far out of their stance. Okay, so we're going to go from this to we can't. So we're in our position here. I take my step. Okay, I've got this grip. Now from this position here, I'm going to drive up and into him lifting, and then straight away, my underhook here, so this underhook hand is going to come through and start to push Young away, and I'm going to sit down into an X guard. Okay, as I do it, my hand slides down, and I'm basically into a footlock position here. Once I've got to here, my free hand that was pushing away goes on the inside of his knee. I drop my foot behind his ankle, and I'm going to push him straight over in this position here. Okay, and now for now, we're just going to get the takedown for now and come up on top. We won't attack the foot just yet. Once we get to this position here, once we land, the leg that's on the front of the hip here is going to retract. I'm going to kick this leg forward underneath the knee and come up. So I'm in my combat base here. Straight away I can start looking to control the distance and I can start passing from there. Okay, so we're up in our stance. Boom, we tie up. Okay, I'm going to pull him in, get my angle. Okay, as I push up to make the leg light, I push him away, sit, straight into my X guard. Push on the knee, drop. When he falls, stretch this one out as I tuck the other one in. Okay, so this one comes in, this one comes out, I give up on the footlock, and I come up in my position here. Now he might try and bring the knee through, he might sit here, but at least here I'm nice and safe, and I've got my takedown. Okay, we'll just do one more, sort of from the top. Come out, boom, we tie up. Okay, here. Up. Here, drop. Now straight away I'm looking to pass and control. Thing as before, I'm going to bring him in, corkscrew, I drive, now I sit back as I make space and I get into my X guard. Okay, so the first one's just going to be a straight footlock from X guard once we swept them. So I'm going to push him over. As he lands, this foot that's on his far side hip, so see this leg that was on the front leg of my X, it's going to slide and come under the near side leg. So it was over here and this leg was over here. This leg is going to come out and hook here. My other leg here is going to come over and either step on the floor in front of his hip or actually on his stomach and hip. Okay, to keep him weighted down here. What I'm trying to do, there's nothing stopping Young right now going that way. If Young just sort of scoots around, there's nothing holding him. Yeah? I need something to stop him going there. So that's either this, because now there's a solid block in front of him, or there's something that can push him back. Okay, so this X guard grip from here switches to near side. This one switches to either here or here, depending on limb length, your own personal preference, those sorts of things. Just stand up for me 1 second. So Young's in my X guard, I just shot. I didn't want to try and finish the single leg, so I pulled guard straight into my X. Again, pushing on the knee, dropping behind the Achilles and using this hip pressure to make him fall. As soon as he lands here, this knee grip that was pushing is now going to come around and hold just above his knee. What I want to stop is him pulling his leg out. So my initial grip now is trying to keep this in place so I can scoot that in. The other leg comes over, either here or here, like I said. And now that I've got that position here, this hand grip is actually going to go down below the knee. And I'm going to use this to start pushing. So this is going to be pushing Young away from me as I'm going to go for my footlock. So I've gone like this to keep it in place. Now I'm going to come through here. I want to try and get my my blade of my arm right down here on his Achilles. Okay? If you can see their toes behind your shoulder, that's a really good milestone. You know you're too deep. So if I'm doing a footlock here and I can see Young's foot, I'm way too deep on his leg. Okay? If I come down here onto his Achilles, now I can't see his toes. Now I know I'm in the right spot. Okay? So I've gone, sorry mate, just jump up one more time. I've gotten to my X guard here. I sit him down. I hold so he can't get away. Adjust my butt in, near side hip. This leg controlling. Now I'm going to use this and this little grip change to push myself away because right now I can see Young's toes. Okay, so from this little position here and this foot that's underneath his thigh, I push myself out and I readjust. Okay, now I'm nice and shallow on his leg here and I can't see anything here. Okay, I've got space though, so if I keep this window open, Young can rotate his leg and he can slip his heel out and he might get away. So rather than staying on my elbow, once I get to this position here, I'm going to lock my hands and I'm going to try and tuck this elbow behind my back as I face plant. Here. Okay, I'm nice and low here. Now from here, all I do is arch up. Okay, I'm using my lat to lock his leg in place and then I'm arching up. I've got a really nice legal straight footlock for all belts. Okay. Tie up, corkscrew takedown. Pull, drive. Sit him down, get to here. Push, control his knee, slide in, step over. Now I adjust to pushing away. Push so I can't see his toes, get shallow, lock, head down, and then foot. I'll do one a little bit quicker.
I think everyone knows what's going on.
Here we go, one more for Young. Tie up here. In my position. We tie up, same thing as before, we go for our corkscrew here, drive, come up. Now as we're sitting down though in this position here, we're going to sort of lose the leg. So sometimes with this, they link leg, whatever, we come out and we end up a little bit far away. So now I'm going to come through to a delahiva instead. Okay, so now instead of having my leg on the inside of Young in this position, now my leg is going to be on the outside position here. Okay, so we've wrapped around here and we're hooking on the inside of that thigh with our foot here. Now with this delahiva hook, you can either go shallow, which is on this near side leg, or if like me, I'm tall compared to Young, I would probably be able to feed all the way through to this far side here. Okay, but just see who you're with. When you go for that deep delahiva hook through here, you're also opening up the possibility for them to attack this leg a little bit more, so keep that in mind as well. If just because you've got the leg length doesn't make it foolproof for you to attack that leg, there are things that they can still do to you here. But we're going to get ourselves into this position here, okay, with our delahiva hook. Now from here, we're going to try and offset his balance a little bit. Alright, so what I'm going to do from this position here is my free leg, I'm going to bring it underneath, basically right in his groin. Okay, and my hand that was pushing on his knee to sweep him with X guard is going to grab the knee, and from this position here, I'm going to start bringing Young forward. So I'm going to hold, I'm going to pull him up in this position here. Okay, so you can see that his hands and legs are going over there. Okay, so I'm lifting him up. Now the one that's in his groin is going to slide down behind his knee. My other leg is going to circle and go straight back into my X guard. Okay, and where I was holding on to the ankle, that's just going to wrap up, just like we did before. Drop my heel behind his Achilles, push, extend as I pull my leg in so I can drive up, finishing my combat base here. Okay. So again, tie up, boom, corkscrew, I push. As I'm coming away though, I lose it. Oh shit, I'm out here. Okay? So straight away, I'm going to go de la riva. The leg that was hooking behind that far knee for my X guard is now going to come up under this hip on this near side. My hand that was pushing is now going to grab, and I'm going to start to pull everything on this sort of 45-degree angle here. Okay, so I'm going to start to lift, getting his weight over there. Now if I need to stop him coming back on top of me, I can frame to keep him away from me. So if Young's trying to get back this way, yeah, I might want to keep him over there. Now I'm keeping this space here. Leg circles around, kicks, and then goes onto the hip. And now I've got the exact same X guard. Control the foot. I'm going to push on the knee, push on the hip, and block the ankle so he can't step backwards. So in one motion, these three things happen. As soon as he lands, extend, come up, and I'll secure my takedown. I mean, technically it's a sweep because we pull guard off the takedown, but you still get 2 points. And once more. Come down, tight. Come up. As I sit though, I lose it. Boom. So I'm going straight away de la riva. Okay, cup the back of the leg, stand up, flick through into my X, sitting down, and then I come up for my takedown, or my sweep. Everyone okay on that one? Step off, I pull him in, come up on the leg, but as I sit down now I kind of lose everything and I'm too far away. So I switch from here, I'm just controlling his ankle because I don't want Young kicking out and running away from me. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly try and hold this. I keep my bum nice and close to start with so he can't turn his toes. Come around the top and I'm hooking. So now I'm going to try and attack this leg with another straight footlock, but from this position here. This one can be a little bit hard to get into, so just see how you go with this one as well. You kind of have to give up the de la riva hook. So I use my de la riva to control, but when I go for the footlock, I actually give it away. Okay, because my arm's going to take over control in a second. So my free leg I'm going to put on top of his thigh because I want to be able to move my hip around. Okay, if I do that with my foot on the ground, he can step over. So I can still move my hip around, but now he can just knee slide straight over potentially. Whereas if I'm here, Young can't step over my leg because my leg's on his leg. Whereas here, he can just step straight over the top. Yeah, so I want to avoid that. So my foot's going to be here on top of his thigh. Anywhere from his knee up to his hip, somewhere in this zone here. Okay, my de la riva hook is going to come out. I use this hip bridge and I create a little opening. Okay, so you can see I was tight here. There's not really much space around this leg and my hip. But as I do my little hip bridge here, I move slightly so I've got a little bit of a hole. Now this hand is going to snake all the way around. And I want to try and aim to get my hand on my own stomach. Okay, so again, I was in here. I have my butt next to his toes to stop him turning and kicking out. I've got his heel controlled, so I've got nice control of his leg. I've got my de la riva. I create a little bit of a point over here, some friction so I can bridge. Don't try and do this while keeping the de la riva. Okay, I'm not trying to do that and keep that in. I actually kick that off. I'm going to bring that all together. Okay, so I'm here, come up, I turn so I can wrap around and get my palm on my stomach. Now that I've got this position here, rather than trying to get the de la riva back in this position here, what you want to think about is get your bum back to where you were. So kind of pinch his butt, bring your hip back underneath. Okay, so my hip had to turn to create space to get my hand in. But now my finishing angle is not great. Okay, because when I push, I'm sort of pushing sideways into his knee. It's not that great for me to finish. Okay, what I want to do is actually straighten his leg. This here isn't going to straighten Young's leg. It's going to kind of collapse it. But I'm not that strong, so I'm probably not going to collapse it. Okay, I'm probably not going to do his knee here, which would be great, but I'm not going to do it. So what I do is I use my leg pinching in onto his butt here to turn my hip back. Now you can see when I push, it's much more front on. So now in this position here, I make sure that my thigh is below his knee. Okay, I'm not going to push him over if I'm on his hip. He can bend his knee forward here. Yeah, now I'm not going to make him fall. The pressure comes from being below his knee joint. You guys can see his knee there now? So now, once I get to this position here, I'm pushing down in that spot there. Now from this position here, I bridge up. my leg is now trapping his leg. So his leg, as I put pressure, can't come up because my leg is over the top here. Okay, and now I hold, then I arch. And I got a really nice, again, legal straight foot lock. Okay. Maybe that was a little bit shallow on that last one. So I pulled guard, I stuffed up, I got too far away, so I quickly recovered and I've gone into my De La Riva. Okay, I got my butt close, I've got his heel control, so he can't, all he can really do is kind of go forward, but that's hard because he runs into my hamstring here. Use my leg to bridge, turn, sink myself in on this angle so I can get deep and wrap around. Now though, I use my leg on the back of his body to pull myself back under. I start to bridge from here, and I get him. And you can see if his heel just pops, now I can almost get more like an Aoki lock almost. And we get this really nice pressure on the inside of his ankle as well. But again, it's still a straight foot lock. If Young just happens to fall that way, well, that's too bad for Young. Yeah, I'm not knee reaping him. I'm not putting him into a heel hook. This is him falling in that direction there. There's still no lateral pressure on his knee. This is still a straight foot lock.
Is this Kayatera one?
Yeah, that's who started. Yeah, he was like probably the first person to start really getting this to fame, like 7, 8 years ago. Yeah. So let's just do one more time. I'll go from the very start. You know what I'm saying? So I sit down, I bugger it up, crack. I go here, De La Riva. Okay, so same thing. Bridge, let go of my De La Riva hook so I can wrap. Use this pressure to come back underneath. And now I'm pressing down and finishing there.
If you extend that leg, that back further to straighten his, is there a possibility of a leg lock there?
Oh, you're going to get ankle more than knee in this position here. Yeah, because you're below his knee, so that's not going to